The Royal Rumble is a bit like a second Christmas. Sometimes you open up your present and it's a Ferrari, like Royal Rumble 92. Sometimes you open your present and it sucks, like Royal Rumble 1995. Don't even at me. What did we unwrap in 2020? Let's take the shiny bow off together. My name is Tom Campbell and this is WWE Royal Rumble 2020 Graded. Two matches on the pre-show. We have Shorty G versus Sheamus. Sheamus slaps around Shorty G for a bit. Good old rally by Shorty G, but eventually, after 3 attempts at a brogue kick, all caught by ankle locks, Shorty G is kicked firmly in the face by Big Bad Sheamus for the 1, 2, 3. C+ for your opening match tonight. I'm really glad that it wasn't just a steamrolling of Shorty G. You actually get some bits in there as well. Sheamus is looking cracking as well. US Championship on the line in the next one. It's Andrade defending against Humberto Carrillo. Great chemistry between these guys. Some really fun reversals from Carrillo. Also, he does an amazing springboard Frankensteiner from the tippity top rope. Oh! Nearly takes his head into the ceiling, it does. And the Minute Maid hasn't even got a ceiling. Also, the killer instinct of Andrade here. He's just got like a nice edge to him at the moment. I wonder if I'll be saying that word again later. Finish comes when Humberto goes for a Hurricane Rana, goes for the roll-up. Andrade rolls through it, just locks it in nice and tight. Doesn't pull the tights or anything, just locks it in nice and tight for the 1, 2, 3, and Andrade retains. It's a B-, this was. Great match between these two. They're going to have many more great matches down the road. I don't think Carrillo is ready for the US title yet, but his time is coming. And for now, Andrade is a fabulous champion. The main show begins proper with Roman Reigns versus King Corbin. Falls count anywhere. And they take it right into the WWE Universe for this one. Lots of tables destroyed near International Row. Thankfully, the Mandarin boys stay intact for it. Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler come out to attack Roman. The Usos come out to stop that nonsense going on. It becomes a bit of a 6-man schmoz for a while. And then Roman Reigns takes King Corbin past the Portaloos. In you go, Corbs. Sit on your throne. Lol, 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 lol. Push it over. Good comedy fun. This ends with a big old spear on the dugout of the Minute Maid Stadium with the 1, 2, 3, and I believe drawing a line under the 475-year-old feud between King Corbin and Roman Reigns. And we end on a B- of a match. I think it's the best match they have had together. And it was a fun walk-around brawl a la the Attitude Era for Roman Reigns and King Corbin to get the crowd underway for the Royal Rumble. I wonder whether Roman Reigns will play a pivotal role later on in the night, since he's now had his match early on. So we come to the Women's Royal Rumble match now. I'd say probably the best Women's Royal Rumble match we've had in all 3 years of Women's Royal Rumble matches. Some surprises included Mighty Molly, Kelly, Beth Phoenix, Naomi's back. Poor Naomi looked brilliant in this. New look, new gear, cracking new hair, and just a great crisp style that she brought to the ring. She had the Houdini moment of the night where she managed to escape elimination, landing on the guardrail, moving her way around to the announce table, and using the announce table cover as like a gangplank, and walking her way onto the steps and back into the ring. It was mwah, that beautiful moment of the night. We had some NXT contingents in there as well. Good to see Mercedes Martinez mixing it up. Bianca Belair, who broke a Women's Royal Rumble record. 8 eliminations from her after entering at number 2. Phenomenal work by Bianca Belair. We saw some incredible work from Toni Storm amongst it as well. And we saw a return of Santina Marella. Now, you may remember Santina Marella is the sister of Santino Marella, who won Miss WrestleMania a while back in a very different time for wrestling. I saw a bit blowing up on Twitter about this because there were some people who were missed off this match who didn't make the Women's Royal Rumble, and I feel like that maybe one of those places could have gone to Santina. Maybe? Is it like an old joke? Look, if we're going to do it, right, could we not have had Santina Marella get actually eliminated by one of the performers as opposed to eliminating herself, which is what she did? Like, have Natalya and Beth Phoenix just destroy Santina. You know how Nia Jax got her comeuppance in the men when she entered the men's Royal Rumble? We should have had some comeuppance for Santina. That's a bit of a gripe of mine with that particular moment. Want to give a shout as well to Mandy Rose, who, along with Otis, played a bit of a blinder in this match as well. She got eliminated, and as she fell out of the ring, we cut to a different camera to see Otis lying on the floor, stopping her feet from touching. What a guy! What a jam-up guy! So Mandy Rose gets back in the ring. A bit later on, she falls out again, and Otis is there to catch her again. Only this time, Sonya Deville falls on top of them as well, and they both get eliminated. Fun little spot for Mandy Rose and Otis in this match. Our final four comes down to Natalya, Beth Phoenix, Charlotte Flair, and Shayna Baszler. Baszler, who turned up at number 30 and just mowed through everybody like she was a very aggressive HR department in corporate. And the four that we had left, it very quickly came down to three, because Beth Phoenix and Natalya, who've been mates the whole match, decided, bored of that now, and Beth Phoenix just hoised Natalya out of the ring. Shortly after this, you see Shayna Baszler take out Beth Phoenix, and also some special love to Beth Phoenix, who seemed to wrestle most of this match with blood pouring out of the back of her head. Like, there was several times refs went over and asked, like, are you okay? But she was adamant she wanted to stay in right until the end, it seems. But sending our best to Beth Phoenix in that one. But she gets hoyed out by Shayna Baszler, and we come down to Charlotte and Baszler. And we see some jockeying on the side of the ring, and it looks like Baszler's going to just whoop the Queen over. The Queen turns it into a head scissors, takes out Shayna Baszler, and wins the Royal Rumble 2020. Charlotte Flair has done it, and she cuts a promo afterwards that is neither good nor bad, but gives us a woo at the end. Charlotte Flair winning the Rumble. Giving this Royal Rumble an A-. The best women's Royal Rumble we have had so far, without a doubt. Some really great stories told, some stars made in there. Bianca Belair with the most eliminations in the history of a women's Royal Rumble match. She's been made through a match like this as well. Just some great little standout performances, some nice little guests. The Santina Marella bit, I probably could have done without. But I don't want that to affect the grade too much. And I don't know whether Charlotte needs the win, but I'm not upset about it. We'll see where the road goes. I'd have preferred it to have been Shayna, but them's the breaks. It was a strong Rumble. I'm going to give it an A-. The SmackDown Women's Championship is on the line now. Lacey Evans and a very moody Bayley. Bayley feigns an injury early into this match, only to sucker punch Lacey Evans when she least expects it. Bayley is just bad heel throughout most of this. Lacey Evans fights back from underneath, goes for a big old moonsault off the top at the very end, in which Bayley gets the feet up, rolls up Lacey, grabs the tights, 1, 2, 3. Bayley retains her SmackDown Women's Championship. Giving this a C, just a C. I thought it was fine. We've just had such an exciting Rumble match. It's a tough one to follow. The crowd really weren't invested in it, and it just felt a bit. I just felt a bit okay. I don't know what more these guys could have done, but it just felt very okay. Bayley now is continues to be SmackDown Women's Champion. Where we go with Bayley as a Women's Champion? Well, Sasha Banks is still knocking around somewhere, surely. Maybe that is the next logical step. Daniel Bryan fighting The Fiend in a strap match now for the Universal Championship. What's this I see? I'll tell you what this is I see. I see the wrestlers and the ring, because they haven't put the red lights on. Hooray! I don't feel like I'm watching a Virtual Boy anymore. This was brutal. The strap stipulation turned it into some weird kind of snuff film. The Fiend just smacking the skin of Bray Wyatt. I'm sure this is on somebody's weird kink list. Bray Wyatt just batters Daniel Bryan, but Bryan keeps fighting back from underneath. We see Bryan kick out of a Sister Abigail, and we think maybe this is the turning of the tide. We see the label lock with the strap. We see maybe that's the turning of the tide, but no, alas and alack, suddenly, whoop, Bray Wyatt gets back up. The Fiend back upright. Suddenly just doesn't feel any pain. Locks in the mandible claw. Choke slams with it as well. 1, 2, 3. And Daniel Bryan is done. And Bryan has just been so battered and bruised during this strap match that he can barely walk back to the locker room on his own. He constantly falling over in the ramp. His back is covered in welt. It was quite the image. This, for me, was an A-. These two just have great chemistry together. They work so beautifully. And this felt like a very different kind of match once again. It felt a different level of brutal. But where they go now, I don't know. I feel like they have turned the Fiend into this indestructible monster. And I think if whoever he loses to, it's going to take something very creative to beat him now. But I enjoyed the strap match. I thought it was a great stipulation and it led to some really, really aggressive visuals. So it's an A-. Becky Lynch defending the Raw Women's Championship against Asuka is up next. A match a year in the making. The first time these guys had this match, there was a desperation in Becky Lynch and an untouchableness in Asuka. This year, a similar desperation, but a craziness about Asuka that just fuels it. This started slow and it built and it built. Saw some creative offense from both guys. I enjoyed Becky's springboard Uranagi. That was good stuff. Late into the match, Asuka nails Becky with some big kicks. And it looks like Becky is spark out. The ref's about to call for the bell, and Becky grabs the leg of the ref and goes, "No, I'm fine." Powers up from there, and Becky gets another win in this match. And when one moment the referee gets almost taken out completely by some maneuvering from the baddies, and almost a crash from Becky Lynch as well. We see Asuka looking like she's warming up for the green mist. Becky boots her in the guts. The mist goes up in the air, splashes Asuka in the face, leaves her wide open for a disarmer and a submission victory. And then Tom Phillips hits us with the line, "The debt is repaid." Perfect. Mwah. This was an A. Really enjoyed the passion that these guys brought to this match and the fire and the desperation at sometimes from Becky Lynch that has to get this win in this match, which she eventually does. It was a great way to wrap up a bit of an open thread between Asuka and Becky Lynch before we move on to WrestleMania. To quote Tom Phillips once again, debt repaid. So now we come to the men's Royal Rumble match. I, partway through this match, was expecting to sit with you today and say, this is the worst Royal Rumble match they've ever done. I now, after watching it all the way through, sit with you today saying this is probably the best Royal Rumble match they've ever done. Lesnar starts, hoofs out Elias, hoofs out Rowan, hoofs out Rude, hoofs out Kingston, Big E, Keith Lee, Braun Strowman, MVP who turns up. What a lovely surprise that was. Shinsuke Nakamura. They're all just dropping. Nice little bit with Shelton Benjamin reuniting the Minnesota wrestling crew. That was nice. But then he got hoofed out. So Brock Lesnar has dominated over the first half of this Rumble. And I'm watching this. And I don't know whether you're the same as me. I was watching it going, it's all right. Cain Velasquez, he'll be out in a minute and they'll fight off into the crowd and then we'll crack on with the Rumble. Cain Velasquez will be out in a bit. Ricochet's out. Cool. Cain Velasquez will be out in a bit. Drew McIntyre's out. Oh, this will be fun. Looking forward to seeing Cain Velasquez. What has just happened? Drew McIntyre, with a little low blow from Ricochet, claymores Brock Lesnar out of the Rumble and the place goes wild. This blew my mind. This was amazing. And from there, the whole shape of the match changes. And suddenly, I have turned a corner on this match. My one thing I would say is that the Brock Lesnar hoofing people out bit went on a bit too long, you know? You know how when like a band is backstage and they're they're not giving the people what they want. They're not going out for the encore. They're leaving it a little bit long. I feel like they left it a couple of numbers too long. Like they very nearly lost me. I had one foot out the door. I had two people tweet me saying they were cancelling the network. Like, so they really, they danced a very fine dance there. But the match changes up once Drew McIntyre has hoofed out Lesnar, and onwards we go. And I think, right, if you watched this Royal Rumble and you didn't feel a thing when Edge's music hit, and when you saw Edge genuinely look like he was about to burst into tears because it meant that much. If you watched that and you didn't feel anything, I consider another hobby, like billiards or tobogganing. I really would. That was an amazing moment. Phenomenal moment. Tricked us all the way through. Adam Copeland, you cheeky rainbow. Oh, I'm not coming back. Oh, here I am with my daughters. We're having a movie night. You cheeky rainbow. Edge was great here. I loved seeing Edge again. And just seeing him matching up with all these different people. Seeing him locking up with Matt Riddle and people like that was like, oh gosh, give me a little bit more of that, please. Number 30, the game changes again. Seth Rollins comes out with Buddy Murphy, Akam, and Razor. And they just start hoofing people around the ring as well. We see, with the help of Buddy and AOP, quite a few of Rollins' enemies getting chucked out of the ring. Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe's gone, Aleister Black's gone. They end up fighting with AOP and Buddy Murphy all the way out of the arena. And this leads to Seth Rollins being on his own, trying to form a bond with Roman Reigns, his old running buddy from the Shield, still in this match. Roman's like, nah, mate. Out goes Seth Rollins after a little bit of beating from everybody involved. Oh, never mind, Seth. So our final four is Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Edge, and Randy Orton. What a time to be alive. Throughout this bit, we see Randy Orton and Edge teaming up together. At one point, Orton teases maybe hitting an RKO on Edge. Edge sees this. He goes, yeah, whatever, I'm watching you. Anyway, enough of that, let's crack on with this. No, yoink, out you go. And Edge throws out Orton. We see Roman fighting with Edge on the apron, and eventually Roman Reigns takes down Edge. And like the good old days, everyone's booing Roman Reigns. And we come down to Reigns and Drew, and they do it. They absolutely do it. They have Drew claim probably the forefront teeth out of Roman Reigns' head before sending him over the top. Drew McIntyre wins the Men's Royal Rumble match. Whoa! I'm giving this an A and not an A+, and here's why. I think the Brock Lesnar bit went on a bit too long. In my opinion, I think you could have done probably a couple less numbers before having Drew come in and save the day. That's my thing. Be that as it may, the guy who got rid of the scourge of the Royal Rumble, the dickwad who ruined the first half, is the guy that won the Rumble. And it's someone new, and it's someone fresh. Like, how conditioned were you and I into the belief that this was going to be Brock Lesnar being a dominant face type person, or dominant human being in this match, and then have Cain Velasquez or a Tyson Fury or somebody come out and dispose of him. We were conditioned for that. But no, what we got was better. We got a pro wrestler. We got Drew McIntyre. We got somebody who we can match up with Brock Lesnar that we haven't seen before. Like, we've got a fresh WrestleMania match, and it's a fresh WrestleMania match built around two wrestlers, as opposed to like an attraction. We've got something there that's new. And I've seen a few people go, oh, of course you're happy. You're British. Shut up. If you're American, we don't get on your case for cheering Braun Strowman. If Drew McIntyre had come from the back end of Azerbaijan, I'd have still been delighted that he won the Royal Rumble tonight. It was perfect. It was brave booking as well. And I've come down hard on WWE a few times in Graded for booking that they do. This was brave booking, because They were brave enough to have a Rumble where the first half of it, was Brock Lesnar just shooing people, right? Brave enough to do it, brave enough to be confident enough that when Drew comes out and gets rid of him, the crowd are going to immediately take Drew in as their own if they hadn't done so already. Like they weren't going to Roman Reigns or Drew McIntyre. A lot of bravery to do that. Then to have Drew win the whole thing, like it took some guts to do it, and I applaud them for trying a different type of Rumble this year. I'm all about it. The Royal Rumble for me, the Men's Royal Rumble, to sum it up, the Men's Royal Rumble for me was a bit like the naughty kid at school who went on to be a police officer. I was worried about you for quite a while, but you did good in the end. I'm giving Royal Rumble 2020 an A. I thought this was one of my favourite Royal Rumble events. There was lots in there to love. There was a few things in there not to love, but the majority of what I saw tonight, I really enjoyed. Royal Rumble is my Christmas as a wrestling fan. Like, this is the first time you and I get to chat about it since I joined Cultaholic, and I've been bursting to talk about it. And it's wrestling Christmas, and this is the wrestling Christmas where I've opened up the gift wrapping, and there's a Sega Mega Drive in there. That's a great Christmas. Happy New Year. Love you, bye. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Cultaholic. Lastly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.